possible to believe that you could even a year ago. Live from Santa Clara, our 9 News Broncos insider Mike Klis. Okay, Mike, you're talking to a bunch of people in the Centennial State who did not see practice. If you were to summarize it for us, how would you start summarizing?
Well, first of all, it was long. It was 2.5 hours, 2:40 almost.
Wow.
One of the longer practices. And these joint practices, I kind of forgot this, was reminded today. I mean, they take a ton of reps. It's not, 3 periods of 4 reps each. This is, between the two of them, they probably got 40 to 50 team reps today.
Wow.
Almost, 2.5, 3/4 of a game's worth. And, I thought there were periods, and this is really how it was. I thought early on the Broncos had the better of it, and I thought at the end, the last couple periods, the 49ers had the better of it. So Sean Payton afterwards, and listening to what he thought, he said he was pleased with the work. He didn't say pleased with how they performed. Said he was pleased to get in the work, and they've got to look at the film, and they got a lot to clean up. So that tells me that he wasn't necessarily pleased with the offense, and he spent the whole day, the whole practice on the offense. I mostly watched the offense. And it was just uneven, uneven by Bo, uneven by the offense. They had some nice runs. One guy who stood out was Tyler Bennett, guys. The final 2-minute drill, they're down 24-21, 1:10 to go. Tyler Bennett was out there for every rep with Bo Nix. Don't count him out with beating out Jaleel McLaughlin. I thought Jaleel had number 3 wrapped up, but, Bennett is right there. So Franklin looked good again. But that was Surtain looked good. The front looked good. Henningsen looks like he got a serious injury. Don't know the extent, but that was the day. It was long, hot. It was good work. I don't know how the Broncos are going to the starters are going to be able to play their preseason game in 2 days.
Mike, we've seen kind of a stacking of days from a guy like Troy Franklin, who has put together a string of pretty decent practices of late. How did he look out there to you today, and where is his standing right now in this kind of crowded grouping vying for that number 2 spot opposite Courtland Sutton?
Yeah, he plays with in the 3 receiver set. If they open up there, he's going to be one of them. It looks like Sutton. You got Mims. I think Franklin's been in the slot a little bit. I guess Vele, those 4 anyway. Bryant would definitely be 5th, rookie 5th, but they're going to use him at some point. But Franklin had a couple more route tree catches today. The across the middle, the button hooks. Both on the outside and inside. Sideline patterns. He's more of a route tree receiver this year. Last year it was deep, or it was the screen to the side behind the line of scrimmage. Just to kind of give him the ball and see if he can break one. Now, he's running all the routes. He must have in team periods. He must be approaching 20 catches in team periods during this camp, where last year I think we counted 1 or 2 in team periods. So he's really come on.
Mike, when we were talking about, yesterday, we sort of used yesterday as like a take a breath day. Let's look at camp in an all-encompassing fashion of 2 weeks in total, in aggregate, not just reacting day by day. And when we were talking about the offense for the Broncos, for fans who hadn't been out there, the way that we described it, it was just kind of okay. It was competent. It had moments. They hadn't really won the day yet, but the Broncos defense is so good. We say, well, we don't really know. It sounded like when you were describing the offense, it was more of sort of how we described camp going. Is that is that right?
I would say I do. I would say that is right, and it did look like so many other days. You know, the one thing about Bo, when Bo sets up, he's so mechanically sound, and when he puts his rump behind a throw, I mean, he can really hum it. I mean, he can fire that ball. He's got all the arm strength that you want. But Bo throws on the run a lot, right? I mean, he's constantly moving. It seems like he makes many more throws running on the move than he does set up in the pocket. And sometimes, he can still throw on the move, but sometimes, he gets caught at an angle where it's just his arm. There's no body behind it. He's just whipping it with his arm. And sometimes the ball will, like today, or 2 or 3 times the ball was sinking on him. He was throwing it real low. And so, I guess that's, maybe that's who he is. And, we saw that from time to time last year during games too. But that's when I think, when Bo looks good, he's got everything synced up. And there was one period he had his rhythm, and he was really throwing the ball well. And another period, he missed. He had some open receivers, and he didn't get it to him. On the hooks or the sidelines. So that's kind of what happened today. And yeah, the whole thing about measuring the offense is you still can't really tell on the running game without tackling. Are they 3-yard gains? Are they 8-yard gains? That's one thing that's hard to measure when you're trying to evaluate the offense in total.
Chatting with our 9 News Broncos insider Mike Klis live from Santa Clara. Mike, last one for me. I am already wrapping my head around probably some decent contributions from current non-starters in the inside linebacker room, given what we've seen with Alex Singleton and Dre Greenlaw. I'm just factoring in that the presence of Lavelle Bailey and Justin Sternad and those guys is going to be something we're talking about in the regular season. So how did those two in the inside linebacker core as a whole today look against the 49ers?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know. I didn't watch that particular when I glanced over on defense, just so people understand, there's 2 scrimmages going on at the same time, right, on separate fields. And defense, the Broncos defense is on one side and their offense is on the other. And 49ers, with the corresponding units they got. So I didn't watch much of the defense and didn't pay attention to the linebackers. But from what I've seen, we're talking real physical linebackers with Singleton and Greenlaw especially, and not quite as physical, not nearly as physical with Bailey and Sternad. So they need that's still the biggest question coming into camp was the healthy inside linebackers, and so far that's still the big question. Singleton and Greenlaw are really good if they're healthy. Apparently they'll be back full go on Monday, but they got to stay healthy for this defense to be what everybody thinks it's going to be.
Real quick, on the way out here, and maybe 1 or 2 more, and appreciate you joining us, Mike. Kyrese Rowan.
Yeah, I know.
This guy, and he's on no one's radar, right? He's on no one's radar, and camp starts, and at the start of camp, you kind of have to look down at the roster, and you say, who is that number 39? Okay, Kyrese Rowan. Yeah. And then you look down the next day. Oh, that's Kyrese Rowan again. Yeah, he was there yesterday. And then it's another day. And then it's another day. And then it's another day. And from what I understand, he had a 40-yard completion from Jarrett Stidham. I mean, someone like that, all he does is make plays, but he may not have a chance to make the team. How do you view how do you view the dynamic for someone like Kyrese Rowan?
Yeah, it's a good question. He's undrafted. He's small. He's really fast. That's the thing. He's got speed. And I'm sure they're going to want him on the practice squad. Right now it is, but you're right. he and Troy Franklin are the ones that have really popped in this training camp. I thought Stidham probably was sacked on that one play that you were talking about.
Okay.
On the 40-yarder down, but still he made that play. And then to end practice, Sam Ehlinger, we had the Mad Bomber, chucks it deep again on the last snap of the joint practice, and Rowan's wide open and down the middle. I mean, wide open. There's no one anywhere close to him. I don't know how that happens. And he catches it for a touchdown, and the loud horn sounds, and that's the end of practice. So, yeah, he's Kyrese White, I think, at one point on the roster this offseason, and Rowan, and I know there's he explained that it's just a tip to his stepfather and that kind of thing. So, but he deserves something. I don't know. If he makes this team, it's by pure earning it.
Yeah.
Because he's been really good.
Really good. Really good. That is definitely a name for Broncos country to keep an eye on. Mike, appreciate your time from Santa Clara, filling in some of the gaps here on the drive. Appreciate you very much, and I believe we'll chat with you again tomorrow.
You got it. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, there he goes, our 9 News Broncos insider, Mike Klis. Yeah, this Kyrese Rowan kid, we keep on coming in here and saying this kid can play.
He pops.
Rookie out of Utah State. And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. He didn't have some great career at Utah State.
Right.
He didn't. 534 total receiving yards for his career.
Wow.
He basically played one season, his senior year. You know, he was on the team as a sophomore and junior, and he didn't produce much of anything. 8 yards receiving in 2 years, then goes for 526 his senior year. But it's one of these things. It's like, and this can happen, where you'll see a guy have more success in the NBA than he had in college. And sometimes it's inexplicable. You can't explain it. And I don't know what this is, but to not have a college, a bona fide career at Utah State that would land you in a camp, and now you're making plays every single day for the Denver Broncos offense, this is going to be a tricky question. I want to ask Sean this at a certain point in time. And by the way, I watched that presser with Sean Payton. He did not look happy after today's practice. He did not. And that sort of syncs up with what Mike was saying. And we need to circle back to that, and we will, talking about like sort of the disjointed nature that we've been telling you guys on a day-to-day basis about this Broncos offense. And now they're going up against someone non-Broncos defense, and it looks similar. But for this Kyrese Rowan situation, it's like, how do you balance your vision, talking about Sean's vision for the wide receiver room with what your eyes are telling you on a day-to-day basis? Because those things are conflicting right now.
Yeah, and it makes it more interesting that, you got a guy like Trent Sherfield who was
brought
brought in,
one.
who was going to be, really, he was labeled by a lot of people as, he's your core special teamer. He's going to replace Traymon Smith as the gunner, and don't look too much into he's not the answer at wide receiver. He's a special teamer. Well, number 5 makes a lot of plays out there.
He does.
In practice, okay? And he seems to me like a similar vibe to a guy like Kyrese Rowan. And that is actually a bad thing for him, because you've got a guy who you're pretty confident in Trent Sherfield is going to make the team because of the reasons he was brought in free agency. And he's doing a lot of the same things that makes it harder for you to separate yourself.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday, Phil was holding my feet to the fire saying if it was just about the 2-week valuation and nothing else came into play, not a vision, not last year, past performance, draft status, who would be the best 5 wide receivers? And it was Sutton, followed by Troy Franklin, followed by Trent Sherfield.
Yeah.
And that's just the real. It's just the real. So we'll see, again, how the vision is balanced with the actual productivity on a day-to-day basis, because you get told all the time by these coaches, it's the sum of the evaluation. It's the sum of it. It's in aggregate, in total, everything matters. Well, if that's true, then those guys are making their way into the vision. If that's true. I just don't know if that's true in reality. So we'll see how it all plays out. We'll circle back to a little bit more of sound from Bo Nix and Sean Payton live. I guess not live, but just from moments ago from Santa Clara out there at the joint practice. Okay, shifting gears here very temporarily.